And there you just heard the president saying no comment right there, ending his live press briefing again, discussing those cyber attacks and, of course, the fuel situation. Joining us once again is Nick Ballasy with Just the News to kind of recap some of the main takeaways from that press briefing. Go for it, Nick. What did you get out of that press briefing?
I remember hearing a lot of the same lines when the Target hack happened, that widespread Target hack that impacted a lot of people's personal information, that the federal government can't require private sector companies to do certain things. They can kind of set their own standards and hope that the private sector follows, which seems to be the same case now. I don't know how much progress really has been made in this area. It doesn't seem like much. I will say that the government needs to do a better job figuring out how to take on these hacking groups after the attacks happen. It's hard, as we know, on the state level when things happen, especially in the private sector, but even when they happen, like the unemployment fraud, when they happen to the state governments, there's not much anyone can do, especially when they're international groups. And these international groups know that. And that's why this stuff continues to happen. So the question is, what are the federal government partners going to do to be able to take this on and get the governments like Russia to cooperate in finding who the attackers were and to shut them down?
Yeah, Nick, you bring up such a good point. I mean, what's the chances? I mean, when things happen on the dark web, how often do those people ever actually see, do we see justice being served? Nothing. They seem to get away with it all the time.
Yeah, and they know that, and that's why this stuff continues to happen. So the government, the federal government, has to get smart and creative and figure out how they can kind of beat them at their own game, and also at the same time get countries like Russia to cooperate with the United States in finding these groups. It's a tough task for any president and any administration. That's why it's still a problem, and that's why we're still having this debate. But at the same time, what I find interesting is Biden makes the pitch, right, to get the infrastructure plan passed. There's a lot more.
I was just going to ask you about that. I was just going to ask you about this. This seems like it teed up just perfectly for him.
Yeah, there's a lot more in it, though, than what he's talking about with the electric grid and modernizing, different areas around the electric grid and modernization of our infrastructure. But I went and did a quick search while he was speaking through the fact sheet, because remember, it's not even a bill yet, it's just a plan.
Yeah.
So I'm going through the plan. The words cybersecurity aren't in there. The words hacking, that's not in there. So he's just saying if we modernize the electric grid and we modernize our infrastructure, it would help, secure the nation. It's a national security issue. Understandable.
Right.
But nothing in there about cybercrime.